I'd be happy to try and answer. You know, as I've said many times, each meditation class that we attend is a step in the direction of becoming spiritually enlightened. It's a step in the direction of building an inner life that is strong enough to become spiritually enlightened. You know, and the ultimate goal of this, especially, you know, we live here on the earth. Our souls were born on the earth to learn certain lessons. Highest lesson is how to transform the pain, the difficulty, the suffering of living in the world into joy and love. That's what these classes are about. Because you don't get spiritual enlightenment if you don't work out your karma on the earth. And it's impossible to work out karma with a closed heart. One has to have that love inside, that joy, that state of surrender that allows God to flow through and to determine the activities of your life. And that's really basically what these classes are about, building that kind of inner world that will allow these things to take place. You know, there's a lot of people walk around thinking, well, you know, one day it'll just happen to me. Or another one I used to hear is, why do I have to do inner work? Because, you know, my guru told me I'm already enlightened. I used to hear that one all the time. And you know, it's true, we are all enlightened, but we also live about 10 miles behind our actual state of consciousness. You know, we live 10 miles behind ourselves, and we have to catch up. And you catch up by doing the work inside to build a system that enables you to do it. I mean, in every human being, whatever has happened in the past, the future, the present, it all exists. Our problem is we live with about 5% of consciousness. As the consciousness grows, we tune into all of this incredible wisdom that is just there waiting for us to be open enough to receive it. So, human being is an amazing creature. I mean, it's just staggering what exists inside a human being. It's also staggering how little work people do to develop that level of consciousness. But everything we learn has already been there, waiting for us to learn it. You know, it's so interesting. Does anyone have a question I would like to ask?
I have a question.
Yes.
I feel like my inner work has allowed me to attract something into my life that's a really, really big opportunity for me. However, I don't know, but I have a feeling it's going to limit my ability to come to these classes if I take it on. And so I'm questioning whether or not that's a sign for me not to do it.
Well, you know, it's hard for me to answer a question like that, Rachel, you know, because we attract many things in life that interfere with our spiritual evolution and growth. And on the surface, they appear to be, you know, good things. But if they take us away from what really is making it possible for us to grow, then it could wind up being something not so good. And usually when these things manifest, right behind them, there's something else that will permit you to not only move on in your life and grow in your life horizontally, but also to continue the vertical growth through your meditation. So I would go very cautiously into that, feel it out, and just keep opening and see what's on, I mean, my teacher always said, a fish swims in schools, There's always 10 things behind the thing that appears directly in front of us. So I would go cautiously into it. I would open, explore it, and, make decisions accordingly, Because you never know. You absolutely never know what will happen when you take a step in your life. How people somehow accommodate you and they really work to help you continue your spiritual growth. I remember, look, this wasn't a big step in my life, but in a way it was a big step. When I was younger, I used to work in bars and restaurants and you never could make your own hours, and you had to work till 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. And it never would have been possible for me to have attended Rudy's meditation class. And I remember I was studying with Rudy maybe 6, 8 months, and I needed a job. I had no more money. So I went out, I found a job at a restaurant. And I said to the manager, I said, well, what am I hours? He said, well, what hours do you want to work? I mean, it was truly God working for me. And the energy brought me to the right place, and I got a job. And the guy told me, well, what hours do you? And I told him I want to work. He said, fine, that's the hours you're going to work. So that was for me, an example of something that happened in my life that, I was able to do my spiritual practice, you understand, and continue my spiritual practice at the same time to earn a living for myself. And I became a profound believer that when the spiritual need is that deep, the universe begins to work for you that way. I mean, in that job, it really worked for me because I had made a commitment that if I have to spend the rest of my life working as a waiter in a restaurant, I will do it. But I will not get fired. I will do an extraordinary job. I will learn to master this, whatever this thing is I'm doing. And I remember the day I quit that job, same job where the guy said, whatever hours you want to work. The owner of the restaurant came up to me and said, Stuart, if you ever need a job, you're always welcome to work here. And I knew at that moment I was finished waiting tables for the rest of my life. I had worked through it. Now, waiting tables is not your ideal job in the world, and I'm not claiming it was. But then all the ways I earned money, and God knows there have been many of them, everything from running, bakeries and restaurants and whatever, candy, manufacturing. I mean, I had so many professions in my life, right up to the last one that I had, which was the art business. Every single one of those things I was involved with, and some of them were for lots of money. They always made it possible for me to do my spiritual practice. They never interfered with my spiritual practice. My need was so deep that it opened up the world that way for me. And I mean, some of those businesses I had were, people would call me up. I want to come to see you at 7 o'clock this evening. I mean, there was a statue or a painting they were interested that was worth a fortune. And I would tell them, no, I can't see you then. I have a meditation class to teach. It's on my schedule. Oh, yes, we understand. Well, can we come at 5 o'clock? Or can we come tomorrow morning? It always worked out that way. And somebody come in and look at a painting that was worth $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 that they were interested in buying, sometimes even more. but it always worked out. And it was really the universe guiding me. My need to have a spiritual life was deeper than anything else I knew. And God heard it and made it possible to earn a living, made it possible to have wonderful places to live. It made it possible, have ashrams. I had, houses. I had all kinds of extraordinary, much more extraordinary than the way I'm living now. I made it, but then I don't need that anymore. I mean, my life has become very simple. And I think that is the greatest thing I've earned, having transformed this really complicated life into something very simple. So just, go into it open and see where it takes you, Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart?
Yes, Larry.
When you're dealing with blocks in the system, which can manifest in, say, a frozen area in your body, how would you determine when to accompany this work with either physical movement or a physical practice to help to open up that area?
Well, very often there's what's called Kriya Yoga. And when you're ready to open, the energy comes and it goes right through the blocks inside you. It can make your head swivel, your shoulders go back, your hands. Kriyas do that. And you have to be open to receive them and let them work on you. Sometimes it's good to just swivel your head or, swivel on the base of your spine to release the energy and let it flow. So, I never thought about those things, Larry. They would just happen for me. Frankly, when I was younger, I had so many blocks in myself. I was such a neurotic young man that these Kriyas used to come. Rudy would go with his hand like this, and I would bounce from one side of the floor to the other. I made it. I had, classes up here with people, working with them that way, breaking up the blocks inside them, using this hands-on healing that I've learned to break up and you should see people bounce. It's unbelievable how these energies get released and they open. I used to sit with Rudy and he would do that for me. Understand? And then eventually you get really centered and calm and these Kriya things begin to stop happening. I've had classes up here where I touch people in the back of between their shoulders and right where the heart chakra. And there's like an explosion happens inside them of that energy that's been so blocked for years just being released, And after that, they look like they're 20 years younger, for God's sake. I mean it. So much of the heaviness just falls away. All that heaviness we carry around with. Now, I used to go and sit with Rudy. He would do that to me. I never complained. I was so grateful that I had somebody who was willing to do that type of deep inner work with me. That's what I do in retreats. And that's what it's trying to do that kind of depth of inner work with people that they can get free of all of this congestion, a lifetime of congestion inside them. I mean, we are given every opportunity to grow in life. We just have to be smart enough to use them. I really mean that. Oh, well, I go next week, a week, and weeks. And people used to say that to Rudy. Well, I'll go to class. And one day he wasn't there anymore.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome, Larry. Does anyone else have a question I'd like to ask? I know a lot of people live in Israel, they live in Europe. It's not easy to commute to Connecticut, but for anyone who can, I mean, take advantage of this. It's just, right there. Plan a holiday, come to New York. New York's a pretty cool place to visit. It's half hour, 40 minutes away from where I live. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, then there'll be a class on Tuesday. And again, thank you. God bless you all for being here, for participating in this, for giving me an opportunity to grow, for giving me the opportunity to share whatever I can possibly share with you all to help you in your lives. So thank you and bless you all. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on Tuesday.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Thank you.